So good morning friends, welcome to Raj Malhotra IAS. So guys, here we are about to start the session. The PDF for today's session has been uploaded. You can download the PDF from our Telegram group. आप जाके PDF डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं. It is available on our Telegram group. So we are here about to start. The formalities regarding the documentation and the other provisioning has been done. So Sonia, Mohit, Vivek, Yamandi, Pranjal, Ajay, Ishika, Dr. Priti, Ritesh, Mahi, Pooja, Dhaka, Arvind, Shubham. Good morning everyone. Good morning everyone. So let's start the session. Let's start the session. Let's figure it out what exactly is there for us in today's newspaper. क्या खास है हमारे लिए खास? And here we will be starting it up with this particular finding, not per se finding, the statement made by Chanakya. Okay, so he says that the fragrance of flowers spread only in the directions of the wind, but the goodness of a person spreads in all directions. Now I would like to take you to the demand of this UPSC exam, and then we will be discussing that what you will be writing in this particular statement made by Chanakya. So first thing should be clear to you, like the question can be framed in your GS paper 4, okay, and the question can be around like what is goodness, okay. Now the question can be framed like this as well. What is goodness according to you? So in this way the question can be framed, and suppose if the question will be like this, so you will be using the statement made by Chanakya in that. Okay, this is our modus operandi. This is what we are going to extract from here. Now the point is very simple, that the fragrance of flowers spreads only in direction of the winds. Okay, fine. It means that they are sort of dependent. They are sort of dependent. But if you are doing good to the society, if you are serving the society, if you are performing your duties honestly, then the point is this: you are an honest person, you are a good person, everyone will come to know about that. Everyone will come to know about that. This is the important point you have to understand. No matter how good you are with your economics, how good you are with your learnings, with your education, but if you are not a good person, people will not like to have equation with you. You will not be a good friend. But here, if you are a good person, he will be liked by everyone. He will be more assimilating towards others. Friendship and other equations, okay, and other relations, people will love to come near to that person who is good, from where we are getting positive vibes. Those are the important aspects here. So if you are a good person, definitely people will like you. And here we talk about good person, the goodness, it also shows your character. Okay, so you need to have a good character. So even the Vivekananda has said that the ultimate aim of education should be building of character. That should be the focus. Our focus should be to become a good human being first. Forget about becoming an IAS officer, IPS officer, that's the later stage. But first, the most important point is that whether you are a good human being or not. This is the most important point. This is the most important goal that you should be having in your mind. Because if you are a good human being, you will be liked by everyone. And this is how It is going to help you, not just personally, but professionally as well. Now, professionally, if you talk about this, like you will be a good leader. You will be a good leader. Your subordinates, they will not have fear in their mind before coming to you. They will be open about their problems. You can discuss their problems, and if you have any solution, do provide solutions to them. And in this way, you will be far more effective as an officer. You will be far more effective as an officer. Okay, this is the important point here. So if a person is good, definitely he will be a good team player as well. Okay, log साथ में मिलके काम करेंगे, and this is how you will be having more efficacy as an officer. That's the focus point that we have to understand here. So this is what Chanakya has said. This is what Chanakya has said. So we'll move to the next part now. आगे चलते हैं, देखते हैं क्या है. So Supreme Court says center state have equal powers to make GST related laws. Okay, now this has opened up another Pandora's box. So till now we have this arrangement under the GST that you have a GST council which is taking decisions. Okay, now GST council comes out with the decision, and accordingly with say team spirit, with say collaborative effort, the decisions are taken. As the members, there is a representation of state as well as center in the GST council. Okay, so साथ मिलके काम चलाते हैं. Now right now there was this Gujarat High Court judgment, okay, uh, which says few things regarding the powers of center and state, and Supreme Court has upheld the same power. Now this is the really important development because it can alter the whole equation of GST council and the power of GST council. Okay, so Gujarat High Court ruling that the government can't levy IGST on ocean freight imports. So it was regarding this particular point. Okay, that center doesn't have the power to put IGST on the ocean freight imports, and both center and the state, they have this joint power. Okay, and further Supreme Court has said that the GST council is recommendatory in nature. Okay, GST council is recommendatory in nature. It means that whatever instructions, findings the GST council is going to make, they are not going to be binding. They are not binding. This is what Supreme Court has said. Now this can really alter the whole equation, because tomorrow the state governments, they can say that we will not accept the rate hikes by center, or say we will not be ready to implement the findings of GST council. It can be there. It can be there because specifically in those particular states where BJP is not in power. So they can come out with this point and they may start imposing their own taxes. It could be possible. So here Supreme Court, like definitely it is going to have some impact. So we have to look into this debate. So Supreme Court said that like it is important to have cooperative federalism. Okay, but further they said that like in democracy, union as well as the state legislature, they have equal, simultaneous and unique powers, specifically on the laws on GST. This is what they have said, and further they have said the recommendations of the GST council are not binding on them. So this is how it is going to open up a new Pandora's box. Okay, अपने आप में नई चीज निकल के आएगी. So they are confirming with the Gujarat High Court ruling that center cannot levy integrated goods and services tax on ocean freight from Indian importers. So Gujarat High Court has said that center cannot levy this tax on them. And further they are saying that the recommendations of the GST council are the product of collaborative dialogue involving union and state, and they are recommendatory in nature. Okay, and they have said that the recommendations have only persuasive value. This is also what they are saying. So the findings are like this, that if you are going to make them binding, then this will disrupt the fiscal federalism. तो ये बोल रहा है आपका कोर्ट. They said that both union and the states, they have been conferred equal power to legislate on GST. दोनों के पास बराबर power है. So all these statements have been made, all these findings have been made, and you never know how things will turn up, because definitely it can be contested again, and on the basis of this particular, you can say, judgment, the states can start coming out with their own law. They can start imposing their own taxes. This is how this will be. And if that is done, the whole idea of GST will be lost. Whole idea of GST will be lost. Things will be dismantled. Now, this is also important thing that you have to understand when you talk about Indian judiciary. This is a major concern that we raise about them. हम बिल्कुल ये concern उनके बारे में उठाते हैं. Why do we say that? Because judiciary is not aware about the technical matters. Okay, so technicality की इतनी knowledge उनको नहीं होती है, and that's why they do come out with this type of judgment. Now, these judges are not taxation experts. We have to be very frank. These judges who are coming out with this type of judgment, they are not taxation experts. Okay, this is the point you have to understand. This is the point you have to understand. Now, one student is asking, sir, how binding would disrupt the fiscal federalism? See, first of all, you need to understand, when you talk about fiscal federalism, you should know the meaning of them. Okay, so meaning itself will define how it is going to impact the fiscal federalism. So fiscal means tax. Okay, federalism means both state as well as the union, they have autonomy. They have autonomy. And when you join them, it says that on the fiscal matter, on the taxation matters, both state and union, they are autonomous to take decisions. But here, if you are imposing things, if you are making things binding on them, then definitely this autonomy will be gone. And in this way, it will damage the fiscal federalism. Is it clear? Is it clear? So this is the point that has been made. Now further, it is said that the court emphasized that Article 246A, which gives state power to make laws with respect to GST, treat the union and states as equal units. Even your law says that they should be treated equally. Then why things are to be made binding on one entity? ये तो नहीं होना चाहिए ना. So this is how things are there. This is how things are there. Okay, so both center and states, they are not dependent on each other. They are not dependent on each other. They are autonomous on their own way. And this is what Supreme Court is saying. This is what Supreme Court is saying. And that's why we can say that it may open up a new Pandora's box, because till now it was considered that it is the GST Council which can take decision regarding multiple rates, multiple, you can say, tax slabs that are existing. So this is how we think till now. But here the Supreme Court judgment made completely overturn the findings. Okay, so this is how the whole equation is. This is how the whole equation is. So other than that, on this page now, Supreme Court to hear Gyan Vyapi case today. Okay, so this is the development that is going to be take place. The point is this, again, the history is like this, that Aurangzeb did carried out the dismantling of this particular temple, and on the place of that temple, using the same material itself, this mosque was created. Okay, now the point is this, this temple, the temple complex, it has been dismantled multiple times and again reconstructed. Okay, so here, like Ahilya Bai Holkar, she constructed the temple that is existing today. This whole thing is going on. The point is this, there is a fundamental question: are we going to change the nature, okay, the nature of the monument? Where are we going to stop then? क्या हर जगह आप ऐसा करोगे? We do recognize this thing that in history this has been done. Okay, in the history this has been done. We do recognize. That's the important point here. Now the thing is this, there have to be some cutoff date, and we have a law which says that the structure that is existing in 1947, it will remain as it is. It will not be altered. So today you have Hindus in majority. That doesn't mean that you start altering the nature of those particular monuments that are existing. And if we do that, certainly it will go against secularism. बिल्कुल secularism के against जाएगा ये. So we should be guided by the principles that has been enshrined in our constitution, and secularism is certainly one of them. बिल्कुल उस जैसा है, तो हमें बिल्कुल भी उससे पीछे नहीं हटना है. दैट्स द इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. दिस इज रियली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. If we do that, if we try to alter this thing, definitely there will be repercussions. Repercussions in the sense that social fabric of your society will be impacted. The secular fabric of the country will be impacted. बिल्कुल ये होगा. So this is how things are. This is how things are, and definitely the Supreme Court is going to look into this. Okay. So earlier as well, whenever you can say there was Ayodhya judgment, जब अयोध्या का judgment आया, so there were few people who were saying that this is like opening up Pandora's box. Okay. कहाँ जाके रुकेगा ये? That's the point here. That's the point here. So these are some of the things that you have to understand. Now we'll move to the next part. So Delhi doorstep ration delivery plan quashed. Okay, so here we have this particular scheme again. There is you can say amusing judgment. Now the judgment says that the grain that union government is providing, अब center जो खाना दे रहा है, that cannot be used by Delhi government for another scheme. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि उस ग्रेन का यूज करके कोई और स्कीम लॉन्च कर दी जाए. दिस इज व्हाट दे आर सेइंग. सो दिस इज हाउ पॉलिटिक्स इज बीइंग डन, एंड हु पेज द प्राइस? इट इज द पीपल हु पे द प्राइस. दिस इज व्हाट इज हैपनिंग ओवर देयर. ये सारी चीजें यहाँ पे हो रही हैं. डेफिनेटली वी हैव टू इम्प्रूव ऑन दीज एस्पेक्ट्स. सो विल मूव टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट. आगे चलते हैं. सो हेयर ऑन दिस पेज देयर इज नथिंग मच, कुछ खास नहीं है. So there is one student, Akash Kumar, who is saying that when you will start these sessions. The session is already going on. Okay, what's the point of putting up this question? I hope he is not attending the session at all. So here we'll move to the editorial section. So this editorial is there. So this editorial talks about bridging the health policy to execution. Okay. See, you need to understand this is a fundamental problem that is existing in Indian system, that we are good at policy making. Okay, we are good at policy making, and we are poor at implementation. Okay, so this is not confined to this health sector. You talk about any particular sector, it will be visible everywhere. कोई भी आप चीज उठा के देख लो, आप लॉ एंड ऑर्डर को उठा के देख लो. ओके, you talk about law and order, you have laws for everything. You have a vast Indian penal code which talks about multiple things, penal arrangements for multiple things, but when it comes to implementation, still there is crime. So this is the important point you have to understand. That we are lagging in the implementation part, and we have to improve that. That's the important point. Okay. And this is what has been mentioned here. So they are saying that the union government recently released a document which says that we will be setting up public health and management cadre, as well as there will be revised editions of Indian public health standards for ensuring the quality health care in the government facilities. Okay, so this is what this document says. सरकारी document कह रहा है. Now this editorial talks about that. Okay, fine, you are talking about these things, that we will do this and that, but the question mark is over implementation. The point is this: if we are delay at implementation, we are doing lot of delay, then the impact of that particular policy will be reduced. अगर आप हर चीज में डिले कर दोगे तो उसका impact कुछ नहीं होगा. That's the important point that has been discussed here. So we do come out with the India's National Health Policy 2017. Okay, they said that there will be a public health and management cadre. At present, most Indian states have teaching cadre. Likewise, they said that we can have arrangement for public health professionals. Okay, specialist एक public health professional बनेगा, and definitely there will be a system. But at present, there is no career progression in that. आज की डेट में वैसा करियर प्रोग्रेशन नहीं मिलता है. ओके, एंड इन दिस वे देयर इज आल्सो अ शॉर्टेज ऑफ trained public health workforce, because people don't see their career in this profession and that's why they don't go for this. Okay, और उसका नुकसान हमें हो जाता है, ठीक है ना, उसका नुकसान हमें हो जाता है. So that's why they said that there will be a proposal to have a public health cadre where you will be having experts, okay, how to manage the public health. And there further they are saying that there will be health management cadre as well. So this is what they are talking about. This is what they are talking about. But these are just the statements that we will do this and that. When it comes to implementation, there are a lot of challenges that are there. Okay. Now the point is this. First thing is that shortage of workforce. So if you don't have workforce, how are you going to manage this cadre? लोग ही नहीं होंगे तो कैसे कार्टर बना के काम करोगे आप? That's the point here. And apart from that, requirement of Indian population when it comes to health professionals are really very high because बहुत ज़्यादा population है हमारे यहाँ पे. Okay, this is the important point here. And then there is rural-urban divide. Rural-urban divide is there. That's the point. There is a divide between tribal and the non-tribal units. उन चीजों को कैसे address करोगे वो भी तो करना जरूरी है. So all these question marks and challenges are there. Okay, we have to figure it out, their roles, their functions, what they are going to do. You have to define each and everything. You have to define each and everything. Over the time, we have recognized that they are very much required because multiple things have happened. So it is not just during the COVID that their requirement was necessitated. It was found that okay, ये हमारे लिए जरूरी है. There are others, multiple you can say issues that are there. Swine flu, Nipah virus, okay, Congo virus, Zika virus. So we have recognized that we need more health professionals. हमें चाहिए health professionals. Okay, without that it will be difficult to, you can say, serve the Indian society. This is what the whole point is. This is what the whole point is. You will be requiring them for curative as well as the diagnostic services. दोनों चीजों के लिए आपको चाहिए. You will be requiring them for, say, if you want to come out with any scheme related to creation of awareness. आप wellness का अगर culture बनाना चाहते हो, wellness का culture बनाना चाहते हो, this is what your National Health Policy 2017 says. यही तो आपकी National Health Policy कहती है कि हम एक wellness का culture बनाना चाहते हैं. वो वेलनेस का कल्चर कैसे बनेगा? वो वेलनेस का कल्चर कैसे बनेगा? सो दिस इज ऑल्सो द इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट दैट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. दिस इज ऑल्सो द इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट दैट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. ओके, सो ये सारी चीजें हैं जो हमें यहां पे समझनी है. नाउ we do say that we are really good at policy making and we are really poor at policy implementation. So this has been recognized. This has been recognized. So we are going ahead with the policy formulation. Okay, financial allocation, from where you are going to arrange the funds. When it comes to improving the implementation के अंदर आपको ये चीजें ठीक करनी पड़ेंगी. Availability of trained workforce have to be there. Without that, how are you going to implement? सिर्फ पॉलिसी बनाने से, एक डॉक्यूमेंट हाथ में रखने से बात नहीं बनती है. There are whole lot things that have to be addressed simultaneously. This is what this editorial is talking about. Okay, so we'll move to the next part now. Now the next part talks about that pockets of hope linking nature and humanity. So they are saying that we need to have more and more biosphere reserve. Biosphere reserve हमें और ज़्यादा चाहिए. See, what is the major benefit of biosphere reserve? That in a biosphere reserve you will have a human population, okay, living over there. Human population वहाँ पे रह रही होगी and like there will be interaction of ecology and human population. So this is what they are talking about. And when we say that, like when you have this type of arrangement, it creates some awareness among the society as well. लोगों के अंदर वो awareness, वो sensitivity पैदा होती है. Okay, they will be more sensitive towards conservation of nature. That's the important point here. So if you have a national park, if you have say wildlife sanctuary, there can be restriction. वहाँ पे restriction कहीं ना कहीं लग सकते हैं, having a human habitat. But here in Biosphere Reserve, you can have the human habitat living in the, you can say, interaction with the species and all. So this is what they are saying, and they said that we need more, you can say, Biosphere Reserve. ये और Biosphere Reserve चाहते हैं, specifically in South Asia. Okay. So we know that there are damages that are being done. There is climate change related issue. Invasive species are coming. Okay, there is over exploitation of nature, resources, pollution, urbanization. All these are damaging the ecology. ये सारी चीजें आपकी इकोलॉजी को डैमेज कर रही हैं. That's the important point here. So they found that like biosphere reserve is one of the key mechanism, and this whole idea of having biosphere reserve in different parts of the world, it was started by UNESCO, okay, with this idea of having world network of biosphere reserve, and the year was 1971. So biosphere reserve are the places where humans live in harmony with nature. That's the important point. There is an you can say they are the symbols of sustainable development and nature conservation. So Biosphere Reserve, they are symbolic. They are symbolic. They are sending us a message that it is viable, it is possible to conserve the nature. Simultaneously, you can carry out the sustainable development. This is what they are talking about. So when you talk about South Asia, the first Biosphere Reserve was Hurulu Biosphere Reserve in Sri Lanka. Now, this is also important content related to your prelims. You can note it down simultaneously. ये prelims के लिए साथ साथ note करते रहो. That Hurulu Biosphere Reserve is in Sri Lanka. It was designated in 1977, comprises of 25,000 hectare, okay, and the vegetation is tropical dry evergreen forest. Okay, so there are two things that you have to note it down. One is that Hurulu Biosphere Reserve is in Sri Lanka, and along with that, it says that like it has tropical dry evergreen forest. Now, when you come to India, the first biosphere reserve was Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve stretched across Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala. Okay. Right now, we have 12 biosphere reserves in India, and the latest one was Panna Biosphere Reserve. Okay, Panna Biosphere Reserve, which is located in Madhya Pradesh. So all this information is relevant for your prelims. So this is what you have to note it down. लेटेस्ट वन कौन सा हुआ? पन्ना आ गया आपका. पन्ना कहाँ पे है? मध्य प्रदेश में. इंडिया का पहला कौन सा था? नीलगिरीज. ओके, सो they said that in India you have diverse ecosystems that are existing, and in this way it is important that we preserve them. So we have Kanchanjenga Biosphere Reserve, which was established in 2018. It's a good model. Okay, it includes some of the highest ecosystems in the world. Definitely, the height is really very high. Okay, there are a lot of orchids, rare plants that are found there. So this is one example. This is one example where human habitation is in touch with the ecosystem, ecology. And we can have the same models elsewhere as well. बाकी जगहों पे भी आप ये कर सकते हो. We know that at present there are issues regarding conservation of biodiversity, moving towards clean energy, climate, environmental education, water and waste management. So all these things can be facilitated in a biosphere reserve. That's the important point. It will be a living example. It will be a living example with the help of which you can generate sensitivities. You can talk about creating climate resilience system. This is what we can give with the help of Biosphere Reserve. And this is what they are talking about. So we'll move to the next part. Now, next part is regarding another very important debate. Okay. This is the really important debate. They said that what role India can play in reimagining the South Asia. This is really good development here. Okay. So we will be discussing this. See, there are few things that have happened recently in the South Asian region. So just have a look. Just have a look of this particular part. Now in Afghanistan you had Taliban government. Okay. It means that chances of political instability is still very high. बहुत ज़्यादा है यहाँ पे. You have Myanmar. Again military coup. यहाँ military बैठी है आपके यहाँ पे. Major crisis, political crisis in Sri Lanka. In Pakistan, you had Imran Khan was thrown out. Okay, Imran Khan removed, sort of a political crisis. In Maldives, there was anti-India movement that was carried out. Okay, but somehow the government is pro-India. Their government is pro-India. That's the relief. But definitely, China is creating some trouble, and the opposition in Maldives is also creating some trouble. In the Nepal, there is a economic crisis type situation that is going on. Okay, they are also under economic crisis. So people are saying that like this, the things that have happened in Sri Lanka, it can also start in Nepal. So this is the picture of India's neighborhood. Now the point is this: you will find one thing in common, that it is only the country India which has the capacity, okay, to lift South Asia. This is the important point here, because economically, if you talk about, militarily, if you talk about having resources, it is primarily India which has the capacity. No other country has the capacity. That's the point here. That's the reality. So if India has to do something to lift, so वो हम ही कर सकते हैं. And then in the whole region, we are having this competition from China. So China is an entity, China is reality. They are somehow managing equations with all of these countries. So China meddling in South Asian politics is not good for India. That's for sure. That's for sure. But at max, what India can do? If you talk about culturally, so culturally, South Asia is the most integrated. Okay, South Asia is the most integrated culturally. हम सब एक दूसरे के बारे में जानते हैं. But when you come to economics, economically, they are most disintegrated. Most disintegrated. So these countries, instead of going ahead with trade equations with each other, they are having trade with countries which are elsewhere. जो कंट्रीज बाहर है उनके साथ ये ज्यादा ट्रेड करते हैं, आपस में ट्रेड कम करते हैं. So these challenges are existing. So that's why they have said that there are lot of things that are happening across India's neighborhood. And when you have these events that are happening across India's neighborhood, definitely India has to wake up, because we have to prepare response. You have to prepare your response in terms of foreign policy. That's the point here. That's the point. So we have to do some calculations. What is India's stand in the coming times? How we will be dealing with these type of developments which are taking place in South Asia? ऐसी डेवलपमेंट अगर हो रही हो तो आप क्या करोगे? What will you do? You have multiple policies that are existing. Okay, अब पॉलिसी की बात करते हैं. Already we have neighborhood first policy. You have neighborhood first policy. Okay, that's the point. You have Act East policy. उसकी शुरुआत में भी कहीं ना कहीं आपका नेबरहुड तो आएगा ना, म्यांमार तो आएगा ना. So this is how things are. And when we talk about these policies, the success of these policies also depends upon what India is going to do. What stand are we going to take? Are we going to allow things as they are going, जैसा चल रहा है वैसा चलने दोगे, or you want to do something? So these type of crises that have emerged primarily, like there is one angle said that political culture is like this in South Asia. Economic crisis is definitely there because of COVID-19. Global slowdown is going on. Russia's invasion of Ukraine is also one of the factor. Okay, so all this is adding up to the challenges that are there in the environment, and these are external challenges that are existing. But here we are living in the interconnected world, globalized world. So definitely the impact will be there on us as well as on South Asian countries. बिल्कुल हम पे impact इसका आएगा ही आएगा, आप बच ही नहीं सकते हो इससे. That's for sure. Your economies are integrated. So reason can be multiple. Why this is happening? Why this is not happening? So definitely apart from these things, bitterness politics also plays important role. Okay, this is just one angle, and we have seen that democratic principles are going down. There is erosion of democratic norms. Dictators, authoritarian leaders, they are coming up across the world. You have this example of Sri Lanka. You have this example of Sri Lanka. So one of the reason for this economic crisis in Sri Lanka is the authoritarian style of politics that was carried out by their president. और ये बाकी जगहों पे भी देखने को मिल रहा है. There is another question that is existing, that whether there will be a collective response to these crises or not. So here when you talk about South Asian region, definitely this is a major challenge. This challenge is not existing in the present time, it is existing since the past. Because these countries, they don't trust each other. They don't trust each other, and specifically don't trust in the sense they don't trust India. They have this complaint that India has this big brother attitude. ये इनको अक्सर समस्या रहती है. And in this scenario, you cannot have this collective effort for anything. किसी चीज के लिए collectively साथ fight नहीं कर सकते. This is what the whole problem is about. And it is only India which can provide the leadership to the whole South Asian bloc. But we have no willingness to play any role. हम इतने willing ही नहीं होते. We are not even interested in reviving SARC, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. We do recognize that there is a problem related to India, Pakistan. Both have political issues that are pending, boundary disputes that are pending. But things should move ahead. चीजें आगे बढ़नी चाहिए. But here they are not moving ahead. That's one point. So it is said that there is a stagnation in South Asian politics. And we are more focusing on BIMSTEC, Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. I am saying that without taking along Afghanistan and Pakistan, you cannot talk about reviving South Asia. आप बिल्कुल भी ये चीज नहीं assure कर सकते हो. We have something called Connect Central Asia Policy. वो Connect Central Asia Policy के लिए पाकिस्तान आपके साथ अच्छे relation बनाए. This is important. This is important. But instead of focusing on this area, instead of working upon improving our relations, we are just moving away from that. This is how it is. And parallel to this, China factor is also there. Now China is increasing its outreach to the South Asian countries. China is trying to work upon improving its ties with the multiple South Asian countries that are there. Okay. And they have more resources than us. So this is how things are. But even the South Asian countries, they have recognized that getting too close to China is not good for them. There will be consequences. Consequences in the sense, at present, China is facing some issues related to international politics as it is getting too close to Russia. Russia के ज़्यादा करीब नजर आ रहा है China. It's a problematic thing. People may not like this. They may also think that Chinese are also aggressors. China भी aggressor है. ऐसा बिल्कुल सोचेंगे लोग. They are busy domestically. Economic disruptions are there. लॉकडाउन जो है वो चाइना में लगा हुआ है आज की डेट में. So this is how things are developing, and there are experts which are saying that as China is right now not focusing on South Asian region, so this is an opportunity for us. And US is also doing this, and there is a recent development where US has outreach to Maldives, Nepal, Bangladesh. So it is definitely helping India's cause. ये बिल्कुल हमें help करेगा to balance out China. Individually, if we cannot balance China, definitely with the assistance of United States we can do that. बिल्कुल हम कर सकते हैं उनके assistance से. Individually हम चाहे इतने capable ना हो, but when it comes to doing things with the support of say United States, we can definitely do that. That's the point. That's the point. So these are really good developments. These are really good developments. And we should use this. We should use this. We should become a team. Either we should work with, say, Japan, United States, and other like-minded countries. हमें उनके साथ मिलकर काम करना ही करना होगा. That's the point. That's the point. So this is what we have. But there are few things that you should not allow your domestic politics to impact your national interest, because we have seen it multiple times. अब आपके politicians अगर ऐसी statement देंगे कि we will throw people out, हम उसको बांग्लादेश भेज देंगे, this and that, it will make things difficult. वहां पे चीजें आपके लिए difficult हो जाती हैं. That's for sure. That's for sure. So we have to move out of that. We have to move out of that. That is really very critical. That is really very critical. So this is the important point that you have to understand. This is the important point that you have to understand. So हमें एक important role play करना है. We have to take along these particular countries. हमें सबको साथ लेके चलना है. Then only you can say we can talk about India becoming a global power. तभी आप बोलोगे कि आप global power हो. If you are not, you can say accepted domestically in the regional area, how can you claim to become a global power? कैसे आप claim कर सकते हो global power बनना? So Pranjal is coming out with some suggestions. Pranjal is saying that, sir, for improving implementation, we have to improve the true data collection and research on it. Definitely, data तो बहुत ज़रूरी है. आजकल हर policy को बनाने के लिए data का होना ज़रूरी है. Credible data I am talking about. Okay. India out campaign Maldives में चल रहा था बिल्कुल. Plus issues on some disputed areas with Nepal. बिल्कुल हमारे कुछ एक pending issues हैं नेपाल के साथ. So all these are hurdles. All these are hurdles. ये सब hurdles हैं हमारे लिए. Okay, and we have to overcome that. So this is how things are. Now we will move to the next part. So we have this explained portion which is saying that understanding India's ethanol blending policy. भाई क्यों कर रहे हैं हम ethanol blending? So things should be clear. Recently there was some changes that were made. So earlier you have this national policy on biofuels which had this target that by 2030 you will be blending the fuel by 20%, that in your petrol 20% will be ethanol. अब ethanol will be available domestically. ये तो आपको domestically available हो सकता है. Okay. Ethanol can be a source of income for farmers. Why I am saying this? Because definitely you can use the crops for creation of ethanol, for manufacturing of ethanol. बिल्कुल ऐसा कर सकते तो फार्मर को भी थोड़ा हेल्प मिलेगा, अग्रेरियन इकोनॉमी आपकी improve हो जाएगी. So these benefits are definitely there. Okay, and when you are manufacturing them domestically, it means that it will reduce your dependence on other countries. Okay, it will reduce your dependence on the political stability. That's the point here. That's the point here. So that's why with this idea, government earlier which had the target year of 2030, that by 2030 20% ethanol will be blended with the petrol. They said that now you have to do it by 2025. थोड़ा और एडवांस कर दिए 5 साल. This is how it is. And there are some factual things that are there, that by doing this, it is going to help us save nearly 30,000 crore rupees. इतना बड़ा इम्पैक्ट पड़ेगा. 5 बिलियन के अराउंड वी विल बी एबल टू सेव. दैट्स द इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट. इतना फोरेक्स रिजर्व आप बचा पाओगे. ओके, सो देर आर चैलेंजेस. वी डू रिकॉग्नाइज दैट चैलेंजेस कैन बी इन दिस वे, दैट इंजन मॉडिफिकेशन विल बी रिक्वायर्ड, एंड देर आर कंसर्न्स दैट एफिशिएंसी ऑफ इंजन विल गो डाउन. थोड़ी एफिशिएंसी कम हो जाएगी. दैट इज गुड. इट इज गोइंग टू हैव इम्पैक्ट. There are issues that there will be say corrosion. आपका इंजन खराब हो सकता है. ऐसा इशू हो सकता है, बिल्कुल हो सकता है. And further there are some suggestions that are there, that okay, to compensate consumer you have to come out with some tax benefits. कुछ tax benefits वगैरह दो आप. That's the important point. So it is saying that it takes much more ethanol to power a vehicle's engine than petrol. थोड़ा ethanol का consumption ज़्यादा होता है. Okay, and the residual byproduct that it is going to leave, it will corrode the, you can say, engine parts. Engine part damage हो सकते हैं, बिल्कुल होंगे यहाँ पे. Okay, efficiency कम हो जाएगी. These are the negative, you can say, issues that are there. These are the challenges. On the other hand, there are gains potentially in terms of ethanol can be sourced from sugarcane, molasses, maize. Okay, तो इंडिया के एग्रीकल्चर को इस पे फायदा होगा. This is how it is. एंड वी आर गोइंग टू रिड्यूस आर डिपेंडेंस ऑन फॉसिल्स. फॉसिल्स को आप के ऊपर डिपेंडेंस कम करोगे. एंड इथेनॉल इज क्लीनर, बहुत क्लीन है एज कंपेयर टू पेट्रोलियम. This is what we can do. So there is some statistics which says that like we are importing worth $55 billion of petroleum. So if you are blending it with ethanol, we will be able to save 4 billion per annum. 4 billion per annum आप बचा पाओगे. This ethanol, it burns more completely than petrol. It doesn't come out with the emissions such as carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide नहीं निकालता है. However, there are some things that are to be addressed, like nitrous oxide के reduction के ऊपर काम नहीं है. Nitrous oxide is a potent, you can say, global reason for global warming. ये ग्रीन हाउस गैस है आपकी, तो वो चीज हमें ठीक करनी जरूरी है. We already have this target of 20% blending by 2030. Now it has been revised to 2025. For doing that, you have to bring additional 30,000 square kilometer of land under the maize cultivation. अब सारा मामला इसके ऊपर आ गया है, because this is also one of the concern that if you are just growing crops for ethanol, it may damage your food security. आपकी food security damage कर देगा ये, क्योंकि लैंड तो देखो लिमिटेड है. द सेम लैंड इज टू बी यूज्ड फॉर कल्टीवेशन ऑफ व्हीट, राइस. सेम लैंड पे अगर आप शुगर केन लगाओगे, अब उसका इंपैक्ट तो पड़ेगा ना. दिस इज द पॉइंट दैट इज देयर. So these are some of the things that are to be addressed, and it is not easy to address these particular points. चीजें इतनी आसान नहीं है. ओके, चीजें इतनी आसान नहीं है. This is how things are. This is how things are. So we'll move to the next part. So here there is nothing much. So on this page, Pangyong bridge construction is in occupied territory. This is what center has said, because China is carrying out some construction activity in that particular region. Okay, so India is not liking this. This issue is still prolonging. So we have to still wait and watch when we are going to get the solution to this. Okay, तो कब इसका solution आता है ये हमें देखना पड़ेगा. Things are not going to be easy. चीज़ें इतनी आसान नहीं है. If they are carrying out with permanent structures being constructed, it will complicate the whole matter. पूरा matter जो है complicate हो जाएगा. But this is how China operates. This is how China operates. Okay, so they have this idea of going ahead with small encroachment, कि धीरे धीरे करके पूरा एरिया अपने कब्जे में ले लो. एक बारी में थोड़ा एनक्रोच करो, दूसरे बारी में थोड़ा एनक्रोच करो. दिस इज हाउ दे थिंक. दिस इज हाउ दे थिंक, एंड इट्स अ मेजर चैलेंज. It's a major challenge. Okay, that you have to, live with a country which is very powerful and is having these type of designs जिनकी ये मंशा है कि वो चीज़ों के ऊपर कब्जा करें. तो ये हमारे लिए थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट होगा मैनेज करना. डेफिनेटली इट्स अ चैलेंज. बिल्कुल ये आपके लिए चैलेंज है. ठीक है ना, बिल्कुल ये आपके लिए चैलेंज है. देयर इज नो डाउट अबाउट दैट. देयर इज नो डाउट अबाउट दैट. So this is what the whole point is about. This is what the whole point is about. Okay, so we'll move to the next part. Now, child rights group oppose the raising of marriage age of women. They are saying that education should be the way to increase the marriage age of women. They said that arbitrarily you cannot impose these things. You have to provide education to the girls. You have to provide employment opportunities to the girls. अगर आप उनको education देते हो, employment opportunities देते हो, definitely उस केस में ये beneficial होगा. This is how the whole point is. Okay, just arbitrarily, artificially you are coming out with this idea कि हम तो जी चीज़ें बाहर से करेंगे और ये idea impose करेंगे कि marriage race एज बढ़ा देते हैं. क्या ये चाइल्ड मैरिज को खत्म कर पाएगा? सर्टनली नॉट. देयर आर डाउट्स. क्या ये इफेक्टिव होगा? सर्टनली नॉट. देयर आर डाउट्स. बिल्कुल इस चीज के ऊपर भी डाउट्स हैं. सो दिस इज हाउ द होल थिंग इज इन द प्रेजेंट टाइम. यही चीज है जो हमें समझनी है यहाँ पे. ठीक है ना, यही चीज जो है वो हमें समझनी है यहाँ पे. that it is appearing like this, but it is not that simple. चीज़ें इतनी आसान नहीं है, इतनी सिंपल नहीं है जैसा आप सोचते हो. Okay, so this is how things are. This is how things are. Now ASI bars visit to Aurangzeb tomb. Okay, so अब बिल्कुल ऐसा होगा because there is a threat that people may come and start targeting the Aurangzeb's tomb. अब किसी का मकबरा तोड़ने के ऊपर कैसे मतलब आपको वो रिलीफ दे देगा. But definitely in India these type of threats are existing. ऐसी गड़बड़ होने के चांसेस रहते हैं हमारे यहाँ पे. Okay, so this is how things are. This is how things are. Now ready to discuss Turkey's concern. Okay, now Turkey has this concern over Sweden and Finland joining NATO. What are those concerns? So Turkey says that Finland and NATO, okay, Finland and Sweden, not NATO, Finland and Sweden, they give support to some of the terrorist organizations. Okay, those terrorist organizations which are active in Turkey. तो इस टाइप का डर इनको लगता है. They said that Sweden and Finland, they both are, you can say, giving support, giving, say, allowing these terrorist organizations to operate from these countries. So this is their concern. This is their concern. That's the important point. That's the important point. How they are going to deal with this, we have to wait and watch. मतलब Sweden and Finland, whether they will be finally able to join NATO or not, ये हमें देखना पड़ेगा. But this is what Turkey is saying कि भी हमें इस टाइप की प्रॉब्लम है, हमें इस टाइप की प्रॉब्लम है. Okay, so this is the whole equation is about. So China failed to change the Tibet people's mindset. Okay, so still you can say Dalai Lama is very effective among the Tibetan population, and इसीलिए चाइना को थोड़ा डर भी लगता है when it comes to Dalai Lama. He is a respected figure, religious figure, और उससे चाइना को डर लगता ही लगता है. ठीक है ना? So this is how it is. Still respected among the Tibetan people. Other than that, there is nothing much. कुछ खास नहीं है यहाँ पे. Okay. So Supreme Court verdict will not alter the GST regime. This is what Finance Minister is saying. So I already pointed out this thing that ये एक मेजर कंसर्न आया कि क्या इसका इम्पैक्ट पड़ेगा. अब ये बोल देना कि जीएसटी काउंसिल के डिसीजन बाइंडिंग नहीं है. स्टेट एंड सेंटर दे बोथ हैव द ऑटोनोमस, you can say, power to deal with this type of thing. So इस टाइप का जजमेंट का इम्पैक्ट आता है because some of the states they may start coming out with their own laws and it can complicate the whole situation. So this is how the things can turn up. This is how the things can turn up. Okay, and is not desirable at all. And is not desirable at all. So this is what we have in today's session. That's it for the day then. Thank you very much.